What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be talking about 8 tips that will get you faster for football. So we're going to be talking about some things that I did that helped my 40-time drop, and then we're going to be discussing some current events and going over some questions that you guys left on a previous episode. So I hope this is able to help you out. Let's get started. Now, if you're an athlete who needs to get faster this offseason, these things I really think can dramatically help with your speed. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be super hyper-focused on your exact 40 time. You need to be focused on developing game speed, and that's what these things are going to give you. So now, tip number 1, I would say, is going to be resistance training. So resistance training can be a lot of different things. Running with a speed sled, running with a parachute, running up stadium stairs, running up a hill, anything that adds some type of resistance, I'm a firm believer will help you out with speed, acceleration, and also explosiveness. Now, what I did as an athlete is 2 times a week, I would run stadium stairs. And then 1 time a week, I would run with a sled. So Tuesdays and Thursdays were my stadium days. So I would probably do it was probably a good, maybe 25, 30 yards, I would say, on the stadium that I would run at, be at Lakewood High School in Southern California, if any of you guys go there, familiar with that. And I'd run sprints up those stairs. And so I would do probably 20 sprints, I would say, over the course of, it'd take me probably like 30, 40 minutes, but twice a week. And that really helped me out, you guys. And then once a week, which would be like a Saturday or a Sunday, I would do probably 10 30-yard sprints with a speed sled. But that type of resistance training is honestly one of the best things that you guys can do to develop your speed as an athlete. Now, number 2, working on your running form. I was very blessed. I had a quarterback coach when I was in high school, and one of his good friends was an Olympic gold medalist. His name was Maurice Green. And so what he would do is, we would pay him for quarterback lessons, but sometimes we'd show up to the field and we'd see Maurice there, and we'd be like, oh crap, because we knew it was going to be a hard workout. But at the same time, Maurice Green would work a lot on our running form, and I learned a ton from him about, again, he's an Olympic gold medalist, you guys. At one point, he was the fastest person on the face of the earth. That's insane, right? And so he taught me a lot about foot strike, a lot about running form, cleaned up a lot of things with my running form that helped me out with speed. I'm going to be real with you guys. If you're an athlete watching this, we see a lot of athletes at the camps that we do, the training programs that we do. Not a lot of you know how to run correctly. A lot of you run very flat-footed. You're just naturally flat-footed. You have weak calves. You run like this rather than swinging from your shoulders. Getting a speed coach is one of the best things that you guys can invest in to help with your speed. And again, if you don't have a ton of money, I would just save up, go to 1 session, and try to learn as much as you possibly can. Take everything that he taught you, write it down, and then go rep it out on your own time. Because running mechanics, it just takes reps, but I promise you, cleaning up your running form and combining that with the other things we're gonna mention in this video, as well as resistance training, you will get faster, I promise you. So just make sure, and again, there's tons of information. We've posted stuff on our channel. If you go to our channel, we have a playlist called Speed/Strength. We have tons of speed drills on there that help with running form. So guys, the information is out there. You just need to be consistent. The thing about running mechanics, just like anything else in life, you have to be consistent. And I will tell you that you will get faster. Now, number 3 thing that's going to get you faster, explosive movements in the gym. So think about what speed is. So speed is a very fast twitch thing. If you're running a 40-yard dash or you're taking off with the ball and you got to run 30 yards, you are exerting all-out effort, which means you are activating something in your body called a fast twitch muscle fiber. Athletes have 2 types of muscle fibers. You have fast twitch fibers and slow twitch fibers. If you want to jog 2 miles, you obviously can't sprint 2 miles. You're going to be jogging. Those are slow twitch fibers. If you want to sprint as fast as you can for 40 yards, you're activating your fast twitch fibers. So you need to train in the gym to activate those fast twitch fibers. So doing explosive movements is what you need to do. So Olympic lifts, like a power clean, right? Where you're trying to move weight fast and exert all out effort. A box jump, trying to jump as high as you can, exert all out effort, because that increases the fast twitch muscle fiber count that you have in your body, which can translate to on-field speed. So I hope that makes sense, you guys. Now, tip number 4, ankle strength and stability. So like I mentioned before, a lot of you guys have very poor running form. And when you guys run, a lot of guys know, obviously, I'll ask you a question. What part of your foot should hit the ground when you run? Guarantee everybody watching this is probably thinking ball of your foot. Some people might say toes. It's actually not your tippy toes, but definitely not the heel. So what happens to a lot of athletes is when they run, let's say this is the ground, they strike the ground with the ball of their foot, but their ankle caves, and they end up going ball of the foot, heel touches, ball of the foot, heel touches. And that prevents you from driving your knee up, which will actually make you slow down and actually makes you run slower. So you need to have ankle stability. If you pay attention when you watch football, when football comes back around, and you pay attention to NFL players when they run, their heel does not touch the ground. Even when they're cutting sometimes, it's actually pretty interesting, but they have great ankle stability. So that is something that you need to work on, and ankle strength as well. So how do you improve that? So like I have a friend of mine who goes to all of our camps who does speed training. And what he does, it's a great test for the athletes that come out to him. He asks them for 10 yards, can you jump on one foot and not have your heel touch the ground? And everybody feels like their heel isn't touching the ground, but he records it, and the heel ends up hitting the ground every time. And it's like, okay, you have weak ankles. So they do a lot of single leg exercises, right? Single leg exercise, like an exercise I love doing with receivers is I'll do like a lunge hold, where they get down into a lunge and we hold it for 30 seconds, but their heels aren't allowed to touch the ground. And everybody's ankle and their calves starts shaking. Guys, that's gonna make you faster, because when your heel caves down, that slows you down. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, folks. For those of you that have weak ankles and those of you that are flat-footed could benefit from that greatly. Now, tip number 5, working out barefoot. This applies to the same things that we were just talking about. Athletes who run very flat-footed, heel toe, flat, and don't have knee drive, it almost looks like they're doing butt kickers when they run, you will get a ton of benefit out of running barefoot. Okay, so why do I say that? So when you're barefoot, like naturally when you run, your shoes and your cleats are designed to bail you out, right? Your foot is not like strong, if you will, when you are in shoes or cleats, and that's just all you do, right? So like if you're running, like, let's say for example, you go for a jog. You can jog heel toe, right? Totally fine. You can run heel toe, totally fine, because you're in cleats or you're in shoes. You take the shoes off and you go heel toe, that's gonna hurt your heel, man. That's gonna actually suck. So what ends up happening? Guys start to run more on their toe or the ball of their foot. And I promise you right now, if you're a flat-footed athlete and you take my advice, your feet are gonna hurt like hell the next day. But that tells you that you lack foot strength, you lack that strength in the arch of your foot that will keep you on the ball of your foot. And as we know, when we run, if my heel is making contact with the ground, that is going to slow me down. So working out barefoot is something that you guys can absolutely do that will help your speed dramatically, guys. That's something that I wish I did more of when I was a player. Now, tip number 6, you guys, just general leg strength. To be able to support that like stride, if you will, to be able to support the foot strike of being on the ball of your foot, you got to have strong legs to a certain extent. So, guys, any leg exercise is going to help you. And now, again, a lot of people are worried when they're like, oh, if I train like a bodybuilder, am I going to slow down? I don't believe so. It's just if that's all you're doing, yes. Like if you're doing speed workouts like we mentioned, resistance training, running form, running with the sled, all that stuff that we talked about in the very beginning of this, you're incorporating explosive movements, but you also do some type of bodybuilding exercises like a back squat, a front squat, a single leg squat, like they call it like a split squat. Like getting your legs strong really will support your running mechanics. You look at 100-meter track guys. Are they skinny? Do they have skinny legs? No, hell no. They got big legs. They got like tree legs. So strength training your lower body absolutely matters to support that stride and that knee drive popping up. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, you guys. Now, tip number 7. This is one that I got from Maurice Green. So as an athlete, and tip number 7 is flexibility and stretching. I guarantee probably all of you watching this don't stretch as much as you should. But he told me, I asked him a question one day because we've been working out, for a while. And I remember my 40 time when I was like a 8th grader. I still remember this was like a 5.2, and that was generally okay for an 8th grader, right? Especially as a quarterback. But I always felt like my 40 time was bad because my start was bad. I was definitely a faster player. And then as I got into high school, my 40 time was like a 4.8. And I'm like, okay, great, I'm getting faster. But I was plateaued at a 4.8. And I was like, man, how could I drive? I need to get faster. Like, I'm shorter. Like, I need some type of speed. And so I asked him, I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, I'm training, doing this, I'm working out with you. And first thing he asked me, how much do you stretch? And I was like, I don't stretch. I was always fairly a flexible athlete, but like my groin, my hip flexors, my hamstrings would always be generally a little bit tight. I was very flexible, but they would just be tight sometimes. And he told me, he's like, that's going to improve your stride. He's like, you need to stretch 30 to 45 minutes every single night. And I took that to heart like every night. I was like, it was like a religion for me. And I remember I dropped my 40 time just from doing that. I didn't change anything that I did to like a 4.68. So I went from 4.8 to 4.68. No 40 technique, no extra movement that I did. Maybe I got a little bit like naturally faster as my body developed, but the only thing I changed was my stretching. So guys, stretch. Now, my opinion on that has changed over time. I used to tell guys, hey, stretch every night before you go to bed. I don't recommend that just because I feel like some guys who are really, really stiff could hurt themselves, because you never want to stretch a cold muscle because that's a good way to strain and like maybe tear. I recommend doing it after like a weight workout. So let's say you do like a leg workout because you got some blood pumping to your legs, that's the time to stretch. I think that's the best time to stretch to help you avoid injuries as well. Okay, now, point number 8, you guys, breathing while you run. All right, so a lot of athletes, because they're trying, this might seem like a simple one, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of athletes, when they take off and run, they're just super tense and they don't breathe and they can't breathe. Like, guys, relax, breathe. Because when you're breathing when you run and you get in that habit of breathing when you run, guess what it does? It loosens you up. You have more range of motion with your shoulders swinging and keeping this arm at a 90 degree. Your strides are better. You never want to be tense. And it'll actually gas you out faster when you're holding your breath. Like, I think of it all the time. Like, I started doing like Muay Thai, you know, which is like some form of like fighting, right? Like kickboxing, if you will. And, I'm a very tense fighter, and that's what my guy gets on me, my coach gets on me all the time. He's like, don't throw punches, and I'm real tense. He's like, relax. When you throw a shot, you're supposed to shh and breathe, because it helps it flow. You actually get more pop, and the shots are quicker. You want to be smoother. So same thing when you run, guys. You got to breathe, and you got to get in a good habit of breathing. Just like receivers, when they throw a cut, they always go, ah. That's to just relax yourself and you get more movement with your upper half, okay? So I hope that makes sense, fellas. So guys, now we're gonna get into some current events. We're gonna talk about a couple different things that happened in the NFL this week with Brandon Ayuk and Jalen Milroe. But before we get into those and your questions, you guys, if you're an athlete and you need to gain weight, obviously if you're trying to get faster, people are hesitant to gain weight. They're like, if I put on weight, am I gonna slow down? If you put on healthy muscle mass, you will not slow down. It will probably actually help you. And it'll help with leg strength too as well. I guess you're maybe getting your legs a little bit bigger. But you got to make sure a big staple of your diet is protein. I recommend 1 gram of protein per pound of your goal body weight. And again, you need to be in a calorie surplus if you're trying to gain weight, but a big source of those calories needs to be protein if you want to put on healthy weight, not doing that dirty bulk. So guys, sometimes it's hard to get to the amount of protein that you need on a day-to-day basis. So I recommend getting a great protein powder to help you with that. I actually own a supplement company with my brother. We call it AG Labs, and we have a line of supplements specifically for athletes. This is our salted caramel frappuccino protein powder, but we also have cookies and cream, chocolate peanut butter brownie, cinnamon snickerdoodle. It's some of the best tasting protein out there, but it is very easy on your stomach to digest, and it will help you put on weight. So guys, if you want a 25% off discount, go to that very first link in the description below at checkout. If you use the promo code FIRST25, FIRST25 at checkout, we can get you 25% off your first order, and this protein is great for you to gain weight. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this is able to help you guys. Hope that gives you some insight on how to put on weight. Let's get into some current events. So, current event number 1. Inspirational. I don't know if I'd say that. 49ers star Brandon Ayuk bought a custom Lamborghini Urus worth over $300,000. Ayuk now has a car collection well over $1 million. You could just see the excitement on his face. I mean, like, here's the thing. Good for him. Great for him. I mean, hey, feel free. Like, if that was a dream as a kid, you always want a Lambo, fine, fantastic. One thing I will tell you guys about money is that you don't want to buy stuff. Me personally, like, I'm very blessed where I am in a position where I can generally, buy, not major purchases, but like anything that I generally like want to do, or things that, like clothes, for example, like, or like shoes, like where it's not necessarily like a worry. And I'm very blessed. I'm not trying to brag in the slightest. That stuff does not make you happy. Flat out. Does not make you happy. And you're actually burning money, in my opinion. Like, granted, like, you buy a really nice watch. Like, some people might say that watch might appreciate over time, like it's an investment. A car depreciates over time. He bought that Lamborghini for $300K. In 2 years, it's going to be worth, what, $150, depending on how much he drives it. So you're actually, it's in my opinion, it's not an investment. In my opinion, it's a dumb spend. Now, again, I'm not trying to be like a Scrooge and be like, hey, don't buy anything cool. Like, you can buy stuff that's cool. But I want you to understand two things. Number one, that type of stuff does not make you happy. Materialistic things do not make you happy. You might think it does, especially you young people watching this. I was the same way, bro. Like, when I was a kid, I'm like, man, I make this much. I'm gonna go buy a watch. I'm gonna go buy a house. I'm gonna go buy this. I'm gonna go buy that. Like, that's not what makes you happy, man. Like, because at the end of the day, what happens when you have all the stuff? You're like, okay, what's next? And then, oh crap, I don't have any relationships with people. I've never actually really helped anybody. I don't have like a family that I enjoy. That's the type of stuff that makes you happy, man. I'm telling you that right now. I get the most happiness from like working with athletes. I get the most happiness like spending time with my friends, spending time with like a girlfriend at the time. Like, that's the stuff that makes me the most happy, not the stuff. The stuff is not what makes you happy. That's number one. But now again, hey, good for him, right? Like, hey, if that's a dream of his, fine, great, fantastic. But one thing I will tell you, athletes, is that if you get into a source of money, like let's say you have a little bit of money, right? Make sure your money works for you. I've never made a like massive purchase or massive investment unless I wasn't going to get some type of like residual off of it, right? Like, I put my money into something called T-bills sometimes, and I get a check, and I do like a 30-day one. You could do sometimes a year one, and I get a check, like, or a direct deposit every single month. And that's the money I kind of like live on to go spend on doing fun stuff or whatever. But the money that I'm earning, I'm putting that away to either make an investment with that money, invest in a business, invest in a piece of property, invest in a stock, whatever the case may be, whatever floats your boat. But guys, don't spend your cash on stuff, because stuff does not pay you. Stuff goes down in value unless it's obviously like a home or something like that. But I'm trying to give you this type of advice just so you guys maybe hear it from somebody other than your parents. So maybe you listen to it a little bit more, okay? So hope that makes sense, guys. I enjoy talking about that type of stuff, as you can tell. But next current event, you guys. Powerful. The Seahawks rookie quarterback Jalen Milroe says he's working hard to earn the trust and respect of the locker room. I'm a student of the game, and I've got to earn the trust and respect of everyone in the locker room, meeting extra with the coaching staff, getting around the guys in the room, learning, growing, because no matter what work I have, I've got to be the best quarterback I can be. These guys have had reps in the NFL, compete at a high level, so as a young guy, all I want to do is pay respect to the veterans. If you are a high school player who's an underclassman, or you just transferred into a new school, you need to frickin' model that. Because here's the thing, guys. Like, let's say you're in a leadership role like a quarterback, and let's say you transferred to a school, you're a freshman, you're an underclassman. Like, those dudes don't respect you yet. If you just come in day one and you're telling people what to do and act in a certain way, bro, they don't respect you. They're not going to like you. You need to come in and do exactly what Jalen Milroe's doing. Go the extra mile, especially if you're an underclassman. If you are on a freshman team and you're going up the varsity ball and you've been working out at varsity, you got to earn those guys respect, because they played at a higher level than you, they're older than you, and quite frankly, they know more than you do. You might be better than some of them, but they still deserve your respect, and they still deserve your effort. So you need to make sure, again, meeting with coaches extra, studying the playbook, being around the locker room, working extra with players after practice. All that stuff earns the respect of your teammates, especially if you're an underclassman or a transfer player. So model what Jalen Milroe is doing. That's why I wanted to discuss that on this show. So now, guys, let's get into some of your questions. So fellas, what we do on this show is that at the end of every single episode, we will answer 3 questions that you guys left on a previous video. So if you guys got questions, stuff you want to ask me, guys, post those in the comment section below, and we will answer all those rapid fire on this show. We appreciate all the support. So guys, post your questions in the comment section. You'll be featured on our next episode, okay? So now, question number 1 from Cheesehead Kai's 3R. I'm in 4 sports year-round, and I play QB. What would your advice for me be? Because I have competition from someone who I know is better, but the coaches want him at quarterback. So I would say, if you're in a quarterback competition situation, and maybe you're not constantly playing football, maybe you play other sports, you need to make sure you are showing up to practice as often as you can. If you have an off day, like let's say you play baseball, you have an off day and football's doing something, don't just take the off day and go to football. You need to be there. You need to make sure that you're in communication with your coaches. Text your coaches. Be like, hey, what did I miss playbook-wise? Hey, is there any new plays that you guys implemented? If you're having to miss spring ball or spring practice, you need to make sure you stay up to date with the playbook. Any chance you get, you're at practice. and put in the effort in the offseason. Quarterback is one of those positions, guys, where it takes an immense amount of effort. Unless you're insanely naturally gifted, it takes an immense amount of effort to be a good quarterback. So you need to make sure that you are putting in time. Any downtime that you have should be dedicated to training that position, especially if you are in a position battle, okay? So I appreciate you asking that, man. Next question from D1 Bread Pride. Coach, I go to a private school and my new high school won't let me do spring practice since I don't go to school in the district. What are some things to help me bridge the gap between me and the players who are doing spring practice? So kind of the same answer. If you are not able to attend spring practice, but you're going to start with that school in the summer, you're a transfer athlete, you're an underclassman, whatever it is, you need to make sure you stay up to date with the playbook. Communicate with your coaches. Try to get your coach's number. Try to get his email. Ask him, hey, could I be added to the huddle? Hey, can I get a copy of the playbook so I could study and I don't fall behind in summer? Worst thing he could say is no, but at least he knows you care. Or he says yes, and then, okay, I'm up to date with my plays, and you need to make sure that at spring practice, if you can go watch, I would do that. So if you even have to sit in the stands, I would still show your face and watch, just so you could see practice, you're not falling behind, you get a feel for things, and it's not a bunch of anxiety day one of summer workouts and you don't know anybody and you don't know anything. So that's what I would say, and also make sure that you are working hard and putting in the effort away from practice, and just make sure that your skills stay sharp. That's what I would say to you, okay? So now, appreciate you asking that, man. Next question from It's Spaz. Hey, Coach Grant, when I got on the field playing wide receiver, it feels super unnatural, but when I'm just playing on my own, I feel perfectly fine. Do you have any tips? So if you feel better practicing on your own when other people aren't there, I would say that's a little bit normal, but I would say you need to get over that and start practicing with other people, because football is a team sport, fortunately, right? So there's 11 other guys on the field. You have a DB lined up across from you if you're a wide receiver, so you need to find some guys. What I recommend is getting a friend of yours, receiver, DB, and have him train with you maybe once or twice a week and work one-on-ones against him. Work different, like actual live rep scenarios, because that's the only way that you get better at those types of things. I think if you're constantly training on your own, one, you're not exposed to other talent level. Potentially join a 7-on-7 team. Potentially get a private trainer. Go to some group workouts. See what other guys are doing. See how you stack up, because, okay, I remember as a player being a quarterback and thinking my you-know-what didn't stink, and then I remember I went to my quarterback trainer first session and he's got a bunch of college guys there. Dudes that were playing at like UW, dudes that were playing like USC, UCLA, guys you've probably heard of. And I'm like, man, I'm really not that good. And I thought I worked hard and I thought I was good. So guess what that did? That elevated my play. So you got to get out there, man, work with the trainer, get some friends out there, just so you're exposed to that level of competition, but also you get over that fear of maybe like messing up in front of other people. So I hope that makes sense, dude. Guys, appreciate you tuning in. That's it for this episode of our show. We'll be back next week. But guys, make sure you post your questions in the comment section. I answer, read, and respond to everyone, and I will feature you on another episode of this show. So guys, appreciate it. Hope you have a good one.